And we do this software development life cycle where you have to plan, of course, carry out requirement analysis, then carry out design, coding, testing, installation and deployment, and maintenance. Of course, the last bit, which is maintenance, will not be required for this task. Installation and deployment will also not be required because you just be basically testing. You stop at the testing phase. So here's the activity. You're required to put all your BTEC subjects in your calculator. So we'll just jump straight to that so that this video is not too long. So the instructions are here step by step. These are the requirements, and this tells you how to start. So design your interface, name your combo boxes, example combo box 1. So let's just start. Let's jump straight to Visual Studio. So you start with a new file, new project. So I'll start with a new project. And what I'm looking for is Visual Basic. What you should be looking for is Visual Basic if you want to use Visual Basic, and Windows Forms app.NET framework. Okay. Next. Then give it a name. I'll just give it BTEC Calculator 2021. I'll just save. So just create a folder for that. So I was just meant to create the folder. So I've created a folder. All the solution will be placed inside. And create. So of course this is the window that will be presented to you. So your forms window, from your forms window, so you are from the guide, you already have an idea of what to do with the interface. So the interface itself just gives you a snapshot of the interface. I think I'll put a proper screenshot there so you see what it looks like. But from here you can tell that of course you need labels, combo boxes, text box, and so on. So let's go back. Go to your toolbox. Look for your text box. Search your text box. So what I did was I clicked on this black button here and I chose multi-line so that you have all of those adjustment buttons come out so that I can resize. Because what you expect to have is since you have 18 units you'll be doing, you did in year 1 and year 2, so you'll need something big enough. So here I'll have my text. So if you look at the manual here, you have your labels here. So let's go ahead and have our labels. So with this label, sorry, I double clicked on it, I wasn't supposed to. Just wanted to change the text there to give it the title BTEC Calculator. So I'm changing the text, not the name. So if you look here, you have the name itself. I'm not changing the name, I'm changing just the text. I'm changing the text. So if you want to adjust your fonts, you come over to this button here and you can change that to whatever size and color you desire. Make it as visible as possible. Remember, you're catering for specialist needs as well. So yeah, BTEC Calculator. So if you like, you could replicate this, but just because it's not in the format that I want, I'm just going to take another label, click and drag or double click. So this will be where I will have my units. So I'll adjust the label. So this is unit. I'll start with, I'm just going to put some random units, unit 1 to 18. Okay. But what you're supposed to have is like what you have in the guide. So find out all the names of your units and write them down. So it's supposed to be unit 1, let's say employability skills. This is just an example, so you put the actual name of the unit. So I'm going to put this in the format that I want, and I'll duplicate it, I'll replicate it. So go to fonts. This is the font I'm using. I'll put it as 14. That should be bold enough. I'll make it bold. So employability skills. Okay. So this is the layout I'm going to be using. I'm just going to click on this, press the Control key and drag down. Select the 2 again. Hold the Control key. I'm holding the Control key and dragging down. Select everything again. Hold the Control key and drag. Click and drag. So now I have 8. I'll click on everything so that I'll just get 16. Okay. So the spacing for this can be better. Okay, so having done that, I'll just expand my window to just about this length will do. Okay, so I just want to include the combo boxes now. So if you go over to the manual, you'll see you have combo boxes here. So you go to your toolbox and look for combo box. So click and drag that. So here you take about, okay, this is when you want to use your database. You don't need to use that. I was thinking I could adjust that, but this is fine. You can work with that. So I'll just do the same thing. Just click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. And that should be fine. Hold the Control button and drag. Yes, you can do this one at a time, but obviously it's going to take up your time. So click, select it, hold the Control button down and drag. Same thing. I'm just going to do it in 4s. Okay. So I'll just make slight adjustments. So Visual Studio will automatically number your combo boxes. So you can see from here it starts from 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 16. So if the number of units that you're taking are 18 units, then this needs to be 18. Otherwise, you'll have to resubmit. Okay. So let's modify, of course, all the units. So this is supposed to be unit 2. You go to text. So I'm just going to put in random units. I'm just going to put random titles. You need to put the actual unit. So find out your actual units and just copy and paste them. So I'm just going to change this title because I'm sure no matter what you say, someone is just going to do exactly what you've done. I'll include please in there too. Okay, so that's a little bit too much then. I'll just leave it as. Okay, so I've put all the combo boxes, as you can see, combo box 1, combo box 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So you could decide to leave the name as combo box, but here you can see that from the outline we still have buttons to create, but from the code I renamed the combo box just to make it shorter, CM box 1, CM box 2, so you can still leave that as combo box just the way it is, its default name, and you can give it any name you want, but just remember to be consistent. Use the same when you start with one particular naming convention. Please stick to it. Don't use combo box for one and you're confused about what you used for the other. Use the other one, what you named the other ones as. So before I do that, let's just include the labels, the buttons. So I'll resize the button. Of course, you can create specialized buttons with special effects and all of that. It's up to you. So the 3 buttons that we have here is calculate, summary page, and close. So I'll start with this one, calculate, and I'll just modify the font. Make it bold as well. Calculate, make it big enough. Remember, specialist needs as well. Of course, you can go ahead, change colors, play around with it as you want, as long as it comes out well. So I'm just going to check to see if there's any contrast I can play with, just so that the attention of the user is drawn to it. Oh, sorry, that was a foreground color. It's a background. Yeah, back color. Okay, I'll use another style for that. But all you need to do now is hold the control button down, click and drag, and you have your 3 buttons and you're done basically. So this is the first bit, so I'll just change the labels. So I'll change this one to summary and close. Note that it's just the text that I'm changing. I haven't changed the names of any of these buttons, even the combo boxes. I haven't changed their names yet. Okay, so that's the first bit. So I just want to add a little bit of contrast, just a little bit of color to this. So I'll look for group box and put them. So with group box, of course, you can simply put all of these items in a group. So for example, you have this. Center back. So I right clicked and I sent to back so that it's not covering the text and the labels. So I'm going to change the color of that group box. It's not going to be that one, it should be back color. So with back color, same thing, you just choose any color you want. The options, so you click on the label, go to back color, on the web to the top you see transparent. So at first you don't see anything happening, but of course if you just move it, it has been applied already, so you don't need to move all of that. You just apply and that should be fine. Now of course it would have made sense to just do that for one before doing the duplication, the replication. So my recommendation is you do your label first, and after you're done with all the properties, you can now do the replication. Of course, yes, I can see that the color contrast is not so good, so I have the option of changing this to white, the text to white, or I'll just change the background just to save time. Okay. Okay, so you remember to change the titles and apply the same effect for this. To be honest, if you decide to leave the background for each of this like this, it still isn't a problem. Okay, I just prefer to have it. That's a personal preference, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so I'll just leave that as it is and save it. And so you've got your buttons, labels all done. Of course, this group box title, you don't want it there, so you just go to title under group box and you can just delete that, the text, so it's not visible. I accidentally clicked on this, that's why it opened. So the next step is, so you've designed your interface. So name your combo boxes, CM box 1. So because of the guide, I'm going to follow these steps. So in my code, I have CM box named as the combo box is named using this convention. So I'll just use that. So here I'll just go to name, not title now. Name. I'll just change it to CM. That's all I'm going to be doing. Just changing all of them. Remember, I'm changing the name, not the title. So I'm just making that CM box 3. So you're going to be doing that for all of them. So I'll pause the video, get it done, return, just so that the video is not too long. So I have all my combo boxes renamed up to CM box 16. So you see the combo box here, it has no data in it. So you're supposed to actually do that. So because it's a while I've done this, so I'm just remembering some of these things late. I could have done it for one. I can still do that. So what I'll do is I'll delete all of this, right? Oh no, I'll have to rename. Okay, group box is good. I haven't renamed the group boxes. Okay, so what I was supposed to have done is under items. So you click on the combo box, under items, when you click on this, you see the options there. So it's pass, and of course enter, then press type merit and distinction. If you want that in full, you can do that as well. So you can have it as pass, merit, or distinction. So it's up to you. Merit, distinction. I just prefer to have it as alphabets there, so that's it all. So I'll just leave it as P, M, D. It's just simpler. So I've put that under collection. So we've got 3 items, and it's a drop down, and I don't want it to be edited, so I'm just going to look. There's a particular property. Let's see, let's lock this and see true, and I'll just test run it and see. Why I said lock it is so that the person using it, of course, can't change it. It's hard coded in it. So pass, yes, so we've got that pass merit or distinction. So if, okay, you can see this is what I don't want. I don't want it typed. I don't want anything to be typed. And you can see that the font here is going to the back, so we'll have to fix that as well. We need to fix that. When you click on the drop down style, you choose the drop down list option. You click on the drop down list option and you see automatically turns gray. So you do that for all of them. So like I said, if I had done it for, it's just because I've named the combo boxes already. So if I decide to do it for one and duplicate, I have to rename all of them again. So I'll just change them manually to drop down list. So here's what I found. I just discovered, of course, there are several ways of doing same thing. So what I found is you could actually group select these items and just choose the properties, just change the properties. So I've held down my control button and I'm clicking on each of these items. So I've selected all of this, or you could click and drag and select them, whichever one you prefer, but make sure it's just the group boxes that you're selecting. Then you go under, of course, drop down style, and you choose drop down list, and everything changes. How convenient. So I think I could do that for the backgrounds as well, making them transparent. So let's see how or if that will work. So it just makes it more convenient. The more you use, of course, it's been a while that we've used this interface, so several things you get to find for the first time, and for some just learn or discover for the first time. So on the web, look for transparent. So I've changed to transparent, so that should work. Yep, it worked. Okay, so did that real quickly. For the buttons, I'll close this so I see my buttons. Yeah, my buttons are intact. So I've changed this, and let's do a test run just to have a look and see if it works fine. Okay, yes, so we can see here that the text is not going under the button anymore, and you've got the options there. What happened here? Okay, so I didn't include the options here, so I'll have to sort that out. Okay, so you have to make sure that best strategy, of course, do one and duplicate and just replicate. That's the best way to get go around it, get about it. So let me do that for all of them. You can click on this button, go to edit items, and just copy, Control C. It's all highlighted already, so if it's not highlighted, you highlight everything, Control C, say okay, then you edit items and you just simply paste them the same way. Do the same thing for all. I don't know if you can do that as a group, so let me try that and see. So I'll just select, I think it's this 3 edit items and paste. Let's see if it worked. So let's check to see if it worked. Edit items. Nope, it didn't. So I have to do it manually then. So if you find a faster way of doing it, of course, by all means, you can share. So I'll pause this and just get that sorted. Okay, so we've got all the combo boxes with the options there, the collections all there, the items contained within them, P, M, and D. And remember to always save your work. So let's look at the next thing to do. So for the buttons, I just need to confirm the names I gave the button, otherwise I'll just use the default names. So you'll find that the instructions here is not as detailed as the first one. So I'll see if I can update this and include it. Okay, I'll just check. Okay, so from what we had in instruction, at least I can confirm that you don't have to change the names, or if you need to change the name, of course you can come here and just say, of course, like for example, calculate underscore BTN. I'll name my, like I said, you don't need to name all the buttons, but I'm just going to name them. So this is the close button underscore BTN. It just helps me to identify them whenever I need them. Summary underscore BTN. Okay, so in the back end, so when I double click something like this on it, at least it tells me calculate underscore BTN, so I know what button it is. I may not put any code under there, but it just helps. Okay, so what's the next step? Assigning variables. Okay, so you're going to be assigning your variables because this is going to be, you're going to be calculating. So what is going to happen here is I just double click on the top and I go to the very top of the form and enter. So just below where you've got form 1, I'm pasting dim unit 1 as string, and what I'm simply saying is take unit 1 as a string. Of course you've got different when you're dealing with strings, of course you're dealing with alphabets, not numbers, ABCs or words. So what I'm saying is that take unit 1 as a string. Okay, just a point of correction. Of course, we're just starting, so so the first thing you're doing is at the very top. From the guide you can see here, you dim them as string. So when you put it at the very top of your code, you're basically saying that everything within the code should see unit 1 as a string. So you're telling the program see it as a string, and there's going to be a calculation done at the end, of course. So I want to call that sum, that's the total. I want to assign it as a variable called sum. A variable meaning, of course, the value is dependent on other things, so it can vary, it can change, right? So dim unit 1 as string, and since I have in my design several units 1 to 16, I'm going to have this repeated 16 times. So I'll simply copy and paste 16 times, and I'll just change I'll change the value here. So you see this, I'll change this to 2, enter, paste 3, and I'll do that for all 16. So I'll pause and do that real quickly. Okay, so I have that sorted now. So what I've done is basically for all the units I have in front, 1 to 16, so if yours is 1 to 18, you must make sure you have that as unit 1 to 18, and you will notice I included the sum variable as well. So that is for this step here, these 2 steps here. So you do this for, so this step shows you how to do for 2, then of course you do for the rest. Now this one shows you how to do the next one, and that is for the calculate button. That's the next thing you'll be doing. So for the calculate button, you go to the front. This is the best way for you to do it. So you go to the calculate button, double click on the calculate button, then you can paste that code there, because that's exactly what you're going to be using, unit 1. Now if your combo box is not named CM box 1, then you need to change that to the name of your combo boxes. Okay, so I'm going to just paste that there. So because my combo box is named CM box 1 and 2, so see what happens if it doesn't see the name. So you can see it's giving you that red line saying that CM box 1 is not declared. So you need to change that to the correct name. So CM box 1 has been declared. So I'll do this for all 16 items. So all I'm going to simply do is paste, then change the values here to 4. So I have 4. So you see it has been declared. So it's giving me a predictive text there, just telling me the options available. So if you want to, you could actually scroll and look for the options you need here. So this is 5. I want this to change to 6. You just simply type it or look for it. So you need 6. A good way to know that you are doing the wrong thing is if you haven't, if you don't see the option below. Remember also, combo box numbers have to change. We numbered it accordingly. So this will be 4. So you can see it's giving me the option already. Going for 5, it's there. Go for 6. So I'm just going to pause and do for all 16 combo boxes. So all of this combo box, so if yours is 18, it should be 18. So all of the, these are the combo boxes. So you can see we have up to combo box 16. So we'll go back and complete that. Anytime you see a star at the top, it means you haven't saved your work. So you can see here, this stars here. So if you save, you can see it disappears. So I'll just pause and finish for the rest. Okay, so if you've done all of this, you're sorted with the combo boxes. So we have all our combo boxes from 1 to 16, unit 1 to 16. You will notice if you go to the top, you've declared this already. So just in case you missed that bit, make sure this is all declared. Okay, it is read-only field, so it's saying, okay, so it's not an error. We haven't finished what we're doing. We haven't assigned any function to it yet. So the next thing from the guide, if you look at the guide, so we're finished with this slide here. We've done everything that's required here. The next slide says to use this code. So when you use this code, and you can see that it's showing that sum. So if these were the only combo boxes you had in your design, you'd basically have this for combo box 1, and you have this for combo box 2. Then the sum would end like this. Okay, and this one here, we'll come to that. So let's just take it one step at a time. So we'll start with this one, and here you have to make sure that this is included, just following this other code that we've done here. So I'll show you exactly where you'll put it, so you can copy that, and I'll explain what that code is saying. So like I said, just underneath this code you just finished typing, under the calculate button, just give it some space. Make sure you're typing before the end sub. Do not delete end sub. If you delete it, you're going to have errors like this. Okay, so make sure you don't delete end sub. So I'm going to paste that code. So you can see I've simply pasted that code here, and you can see you're not having any errors because CM box 1 is already declared here. If you just put CM box here alone, you would find that you will get this error button. It says CM box is not declared. So make sure whatever name you're using for your combo boxes, you're consistent. Now what we're simply saying here is, because we're using drop down boxes, this property here, which is selected item, is only available with certain tools. So for the combo box, which is these items you see here, it has this option of selected items. So you are saying if combo box 1 is selected, right, and what is selected is the letter P, and that's the letter P, then unit 1, because remember this is unit 1, then unit 1 is equals to 70. Now according to BTEC, your pass criteria is equals to, that's the letter P, is equals to 70 marks, and your merit is equals to 80 marks, and your distinction is equals to 90 marks. So it means that if you have P, you're basically adding 70s all through, and you'll find the total where you have your, whether your DDMs, PPP or MMMs. So that's we use this directly from the BTEC specification. So you're saying if combo box dot one is selected that's combo box 1 dot selected item is equals to P, then unit 1 is equals to this. Now remember, you have 3 options. So it's saying else if combo box 1 dot selected item is M, then unit 1 will be equals to 80. If it is D, then it's equals to 90. So that is what you will do for each of these combo boxes. These conditions need to be put there, and the good thing about it is that you already have it copied. So all you just need to do is simply paste again, then change the numbers. So here is combo box 2, unit 2, combo box 2. You're just changing everything to the right numbers. Unit 2. You have to make sure you do this carefully. I'd recommend that you do this one at a time. So don't paste. If you paste everything, and of course you have to sort it out one by one. So just do it one at a time. So I've done for unit 1 and 2. So I'm moving on to unit 3. So I'll change combo box to 3. Combo box 3. Combo box 3. Combo box 3. Combo box 3. So the thing about of course we've discussed this already in unit 6. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'll pause the video and put all that's copy and paste for all the combo boxes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 done. So by the time we're back, everything will be done. So finally got all of this changed, and as you can see, we have all the conditional statements for all the combo boxes. So what you have is, for each of this combo boxes, you have these blocks for each of them. So the next thing you'll be doing, of course, is as you can see, you have here on the slide, it says for the sum value. Remember, you declare the sum at the beginning. We declare this at the beginning here. So you've got 1 to 16, and the value of sum here, this variable here, you assign it as a string. So what you're going to do is basically, after the end if statement, you can take this command, let's copy that and paste it there. So as you can see, you have C int, that is of course C, this value of unit 1 as an integer. So you're converting this to an integer. That's basically what you're doing. Remember, we declared it as a string. So now that you've assigned it a value of 70, 80, 90, whichever whatever value you've assigned it to, you want it to convert back to integer, and it's going to be adding. If you don't do this, it's simply going to try and just concatenate all of this. So it's going to have 70. So when you say unit 1, for example, if it meets the condition, it will simply write 70, 80. It will not add it 70, 80, 90 to just write it out as it is. So what you need to do now is to have this done for all the units. So what you will have to do is you just simply copy this and paste and just change this to unit 3. So all the units that you declared at the top, just make sure you have it up to 16. So just copy all of this and I'll paste it here, and I'll just change these values. So you have, sorry, you're going to have 5 here. So you have 4, 5, 6. You have to be careful when you're doing this because you can easily make a mistake and put in the wrong value. So I'll pause and just complete this. I'll complete this and we'll continue. So when you complete to the final value, that is unit 16, you've converted up to unit 16. What you will do next is, let's go to the slide. So when you go to the next slide, this line, remember it's just an example. Yours extends up to 16 or 18 units. So this line here is the same thing as the one here. I think I can delete that, but okay, I'll leave that there so that you know where it goes. So you see this one here, answer.text. Now this answer.text is any label that will display the sum in the program. So let's come back to our program first of all. We don't have that label there, so we need to put it in first, or you could put in the code and go fix that later. But let's start with the front end. Now of course, if you add this values together, you want to have the total value displayed here. So first of all, let's I'll just copy this, control and drag. So I'll just say, oh sorry, I double clicked on it because I thought it was just an ordinary text. So I'll change the text there and say total, I can say points or score, total score. So total score, I'll put that here. I'll duplicate this one and put final grade here. I'll change this to final grade. Okay, so I'm going to replicate this one here, but inside of this there's not going to be any text in it, right? So it will make it, of course, difficult to find in terms of since there's not going to be any text inside of it. So when I delete the text, as you can see, and I click, it's actually there, but you can't see it. So that's what I meant. It'll be difficult to find. So what you could do is, first of all, Control Z, we could give it a border. We could give it a border just so that it's visible. We know where it is. Border style, it says none here. Let's use fixed single, so when you delete the text, at least you know where it is. Okay, so I think I have to go back and check the color of the border. So for border style, so you have it transparent. Let me change this to black and see. Okay, no, that's a background color. Let me change this to 3D, fixed 3D, and see. Okay, with fixed 3D, it still helps, but you'll find that you could use that particular one. I just don't want to waste too much time looking for. I think I used flat style. standard pop-out. Let's see pop-up effect. Let's see if it has any, it will make any difference with that one. And change the border style back to fixed single and see if there's going to be any difference. Okay, yes, so you see the border there, so I will delete the text in there. Okay, so it didn't do anything. Let me run it and see if it will make any difference, if it will show in the front end. So all I'm just trying to do is just look for a way that this will look more presentable. Okay, so as you can see, it's not standing out in any way. So all of these functions we haven't completed it, so they're not working at the moment, so we'll sort that out soon. Okay, so just so we don't waste any time, I'll go back to border style. I'll just go back to standard. I'll use the 3D option, then delete the text. Remember, you don't need the text there because it's going to display whatever the value will be. So I'm just using that line there to find what that is. Okay, I think I know why the border is not showing. I'll just fix that and explain that to you quickly. Okay, so all I needed to do was to increase the padding. So when you choose border style as fixed single and you scroll down to padding, so left and right is what I want to increase. So I could put 20 there, and on the right put 30. You can make it as big as you want as long as it's visible enough. Make it 40 then. Okay, so you can see it as displayed. If you have an easier way of doing that, that's fine. Whatever makes your work faster. Make this 50, just so it's wide enough. So for final grade, I'm going to close this at the bottom. I want to replicate this one for final grade. So I'm going to have two. So what I have is two labels. So I have two labels, one for final grade, one for total score. So I'm going to caption them appropriately. So this is for total score, and that was what I named as an answer from what we have here, answer.text. So answer.text is this one here. So I'll give it answer.text. Change the name to ans.txt. Okay, it's not accepting that. Okay, so it's going to be, sorry, the text is a property, so it's ans. That is the value. Okay. So now we go back to our code, and when we say ans, now you put .txt as a property because it's a text that we're looking at. There equals to sum. So what we're saying is essentially the value of this should be assigned to this. Okay, for this label, it's not accept. Oh, okay, I was supposed to use something. Sorry guys, I have to fix this. Okay, so I just identified my mistake, and that was because I didn't type in text. I just put in txt. And that's the interesting thing about coding. Just one little thing can cause serious errors in your program. So we're done with this bit. So here is answer.text equals to sum. So it means that this value here, so you're saying that when you calculate the sum, because this is what we've named as answer, So this other one here is final grade. So I'll change this to, in keeping with, of course, the guide, I'll give that answer 2. Answer 2. You can name it anything you want, but you just have to be consistent. So with this one, I'll change it to answer 2. I could have named it final grade, which would have been a better name for it. So answer 2 is the second one. So what you have here is answer 1 and answer 2. So for answer 2, according to the guide, what you have is, if answer 2 is greater than or equals to 720, then grade text.txt. Now here is where I've made okay, so here answer 2.text is actually the text here that says final grade. So what you should have here, instead of me having answer 2, that's why it's good to have good naming convention. So you can see that this one here, I'll copy it, it's supposed to be for this one. This one will be grade this will be grade txt.text, which will display the final grade. So what will happen is, because I've already done the guide, we'll just follow this. Otherwise I would have said, let's name this thing properly. This will be the final text display. So grade txt to read ANS. So we'll try that and see. Okay, so that should read ANS. Let's see if there's any places else you need to change that. Okay, so we'll work with that and see. So this is ANS, this is grade text. So from the code, it says if the answer is this, the grade text should show this. So you copy the whole of this and paste. So this is grade text ANS. Okay, so let's go back to the code, and underneath this we just paste. So if answer.text, now this value here, if you want to get distinction, now remember we have 16 subjects, so we're going to calculate and put the correct values. So let me just pull out the calculator. So if you've got 90 multiplied by 16, you'll have 1440. So it means that if it's greater than or equal to 11440, it should give you a triple D. If you've got for merits, it's 80 times 60 times 16, because you have 16 subjects there. If you've got 18 subjects, multiplied by 18. So if it's greater than or equal to so here is for the M, you put the condition here for M, so that is 1280. Remember, this is not I'm just using this to show you what you can do. You could do it accurately with the conditions provided. I'm just showing you this as an example. So 70 times 16 subjects will give you 1120. The other way you can do it, of course, if you find the highest value for P, so you say less than or equal to that value. Okay, so a comma is expected where, sorry, is that a colon here? Okay, I'll find out. Oh, okay, sorry, this instruction was from the slide, so I'm supposed to ignore that. So what I did was, the mistake there was I copied this instruction was just a guide, was part of the guide, and I just copied it in and pasted. I'm getting rusty. Okay, so you have these conditions, and let's see what else. The calculate buttons. You've got, okay, so remember we had a text box. So for the next slide, you're supposed to configure the summary button to post the final details in the text box. That's the post box, is the name of the text box. So first of all, let's go and look at what was the name here. So this here says text box 1, so I'll rename that to post box. I'll change that to post box. I'll save my work. So this is post box. Then go back to the command. So it says post text box dot append text. That is basically paste the text to this value, and this one here just gives a gap in between. So this line here just gives a gap before this one. So you'll see post text box dot append text VB tab blah 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 txt1 txt2. Now here is where we need to complete for this to work accurately. You see where you've got text unit 1, you have these values here. All of these values, you want them to be pasted here. That's what you're basically saying. You want this to be pasted and this pasted here in the summary box. But we haven't named all of these labels. So these labels are, you have label 1, label 2, label 3, 4, 5. You can see the names here. Now you could choose to work with this. You just put label 6.txt. It's up to you. But because of the guide that I have created already, I will change the name. So txt1, txt2, txt3 is what that's txt unit 1, txt unit 2. I will just change that. And you see combo box text 1, of course we're talking about the combo boxes. That's why it's good to get the labeling or the naming of your tools correctly, just so that doesn't bring about confusion. You can see the confusion I'm bringing in now by not doing that properly. Okay, so I'll change all the names here. So for example, I'm just going to copy this one here. You don't need to put a dot text. This is the property that will be put in when you go into the command line, I mean the programming between the coding part. So for this one, I'm going to change the name to txt unit 1. This one here will be txt unit 2. So I'll just be changing the last value. So you do that for all of them, but you change the numbers for, and this is, I'll just highlight this, 5, unit 5, 6. So I'll pause and just do this. Okay, so I've labeled all these units. So what I did was I discovered that I missed a particular unit. So what I just did, I simply gave a unit 23, which is the human-computer interaction. So of course you're supposed to change all these titles. But what you'll see here is that the name is txt unit 23, and the other one's txt unit 4. So you've got 1 down to 15, and you've got 23. So what you're expected to do now is use this code and add all of them up till the last unit. So this bit of code here, and for what button you're using this for, the summary button. It's for the summary button. So you go over to the summary button, double click on it. You make sure you don't delete anything here. Even if you don't see summary BTN, do not delete, do not change anything above this line. Okay, just simply paste your code there. Now what you'll find is, of course, you need to fix some things here. So post text box has not been declared. So it means that whatever it is you're talking about here, it hasn't been declared. So if we come back to the front here, and so what you have is post box, not post text. So what I'll do is I'll change this to post text box. Okay, so I'll change that, and that should fix it. So post text box, it's not accepting the value, so I'll find out why and fix that. Okay, so here's another one of those small things that can make you spend a lot of time trying to fix little errors and issues. So I was just supposed to simply copy the name here, unless of course you want to change it to postbox. Postbox, you can do that. If I change this to postbox, you'll see what will happen. So you can see postbox is already here. So you can see the error is gone because I have it as postbox. But because I want us to follow the instruction guide, I just want to use that. I will just instead rename the name. It's easier to just change this text box here to post text box. So you can see it has accepted it. And one thing I find with naming conventions is it doesn't accept spaces, so you may need to use underscores if you want to include spaces. So if I put a space here, you see it doesn't accept it. So that's why it was giving us the error the other time. So if you want spaces, you may have to use the underscore. So you can see here we have append for unit 1, we have for unit 2. So we'll go and see the order. We have 1, 2, and 23. So the next one is 23. So I'm going to paste this again. So each of this that I'm putting in, each of this is just a blank line. So I just want one blank space. So you've got unit 1, unit 2. I'm going to change this to unit 23. Then the rest is unit 4, 5, 6, and so on. So you can see it's already auto-filling. So what I'm going to do is copy again and paste underneath this one. Remember, this just gives us a space in between them, and I continue from 4, and I'll put 5, 6, 7. So I'll pause this and just complete it. Okay, so as you can see here, I have changed this to all of these values. That's all of these values: txt unit 1, txt unit 2, 23. So I want all of that pasted in the text box. So I said to append. This one is just a line, just an empty line. So this is a tab. You know what your tab button does. You include this. Now the only thing that we have to change here is the combo boxes, the names of the combo boxes you want to use. Otherwise it will just repeat the ones you've put here. So you have combo box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to 16. So you come over here and you just change it to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Make sure you save your work. So that's for the summary button. Okay. So let's have a look at the next slide, and the final one should be the exit button. So we've done the calculate button. So this was for the calculate button. Assigning the variables was under the calculate button. That's unit 1 combo box blah blah blah. So let's have a look at that just to be sure. Yeah, so that's for your calculate button. You have all of that sorted. So the last thing we're going to do is have the close button. Of course, it's not the last thing for the entire project, but for this video, because we haven't put the menu, there are several things to put in, and you'll get that from the other instruction. So double click on close button, just go straight to this one, and you can copy and paste this. You'll find that the other video you cannot copy and paste because it's a screenshot that we used in that one. Okay, so you have all of this done. Okay, so remember I changed something in the beginning here, which is this value here. I changed it to unit 23. So we don't have unit 3 anymore. We don't have unit 3 anymore. So what's going to happen is I'll just go back here, change this to unit 23, and go to the top and declare unit 23 instead of unit 3 as string. So then the other thing I forgot to include was, because for the summary I want there to be like a dash where you've got the total. So what I did was, first of all, these labels here, I had to name them. Of course, you can use their default names if you want to, but I changed it to total text, final grade. The name is final grade. The name there is final grade. So what you have here is, this one is, the name here is ANS, that's answer. This one here is just grade TXT. Okay, so you know the difference. So I've named them differently. So the only what I've added from the last exercise is just giving this total TXT, that's total TXT, and final grade. That's all I did. Then I renamed unit 3 to 23, so you should have unit 23 there, not unit 3. And at the top you should have unit 23. So it means that everywhere I have unit 3, I'm supposed to change it to 23, otherwise it will give you a return an error. So as you can see, unit 23 is returning, unit 3 is returning an error, so I have to change that. So I have to go around and check. Now I'm changing that only because I made a mistake earlier. So if you have your unit 3 declared already and you didn't make any mistakes, then no problem. Okay, so I'm only changing that because I discovered that I made a mistake, so I just named it unit 23. So it means that anywhere I have unit 23, I need to change that. So unit 23 is okay here. So let's give it a test run and see if any errors will still troubleshoot. So let's try this again. But before we do that, we can do summary one, so you can have an idea of what it will look like. So you can see for the summary, it has total score, final grade, all that was hard coded in the background. All of this was hard coded in the background. So you can see from the first one, unit 1 down to unit 10. So when you choose the grade, of course, and you say summary, it will do that. You can delete this manually by just Ctrl A and click delete. So I haven't done any calculations yet, so I just select to show you. So let's see if our calculate button works. Okay, so we're seeing conversion. There's a conversion here that wasn't done properly. So it says here, conversion from string M to type integer is not valid. So I'll look at that. I'm sure there was just an error there, and we'll fix that. I'm sure when we're doing copy and pasting, there was a mistake there. So I'll just fix that and return. So first of all, we'll stop this. I'll pause and continue. Okay, so I've been troubleshooting to see what the problem is. Part of what you can see here now is that this is overlapping, but that's not the reason why we're getting the error anyway. So we'll have to fix that as well. What I found was when I changed the values, because the error message I saw was about converting the variable m. So when you put a pass here and you see calculate, you have 12,270. When you put a letter D and calculate, you have that. Of course, if you click on summary, you have everything summarized here. But when you put the letter M, you find that if you say calculate, then it returns that error. So it means that first of all, the problem we're having is from this here, which is combo box 2. So everything to do with combo box 2 has to be checked. So we need to check, that's why we've got unit 2, and we'll have to see what the problem is. So under the calculate button, this is what you have, unit 2. So let's check the condition on the combo box 2. So here's what we've got. It says here, if this is selected, unit 2 will be equals to 70, which is the same thing as we've got here. Combo box 2 selected, item M, then unit. Okay, so you can see where the error is. So like I told you guys, one little thing can just flag off serious errors. So what I was supposed to do here, of course, was to change this to unit 2, which I didn't, and that's why I was having that error. So we'll run it again and we'll see. So if I put M and I say calculate, it works now. It doesn't crash anymore. Okay, so it's just a slight error there, and you'll find that as the numbers increase, of course, it gets bigger and it's going behind the calculate button, which of course for a good user interface we don't want that. Okay, so you have to fix that by just simply arranging them properly. So close, so you can see our close button works fine. Confirm if you want to exit. Yes, so we're done with that. So it's always good to read error messages. At least gives you an idea of what to focus on in terms of fixing problems. So I'm just going to shift this, select this to, I'm trying to select this without selecting any other thing. Okay, now I'll just do this with the control button. Okay, so I'll have it here just in case, and I'll see if, so I'll save this. So this is the main functionality. Then the other bit is, of course, the other functions for user specialist needs, pop-out effect and colors and background. Like I said, guys, you can expand this, add logo, rearrange this in any order or fashion you want. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. Increase it, reduce it, rearrange it, any how you want. You can put in images for logos, to put in an image, of course, you go to toolbox and there's a picture box there. Put a picture box here, and I'll just make that a little bit bigger. Then choose an image. I'll just pick an image from my system. So I'll go to pictures and just go to stock pictures. I'll just use icons. I'll just use the NHS logo. Say OK. And have that stretched so you can have that placed anywhere you want. If you want it on top, wow. Okay, so it's up to you how you customize your interface. So I'll just pause here and check the scores, because I noticed, of course, with the pass merits conditions, I'm just going to change that to make it closer to what BTEC would require. Okay, just to show you what how to refine these conditions here. Now you see this condition here, I just for demonstration purposes I just put these values. So it means therefore that any by the time everything is added, if you have these conditions met, that is what will be posted. So of course you know that for your BTEC results you don't have only triple Ds and triple Ps and Ms, so you can have M, double Ps, and so on. So if you go to the website, of course the BTEC calculator is available on Study Space. If you go under the general tab, you'll find. Okay, so you come to Study Space under the general tab, that's of your program. On Study Space you come under general information about the course, and you click on BTEC to UCAS points calculator. So first of all, you need to have 18 subjects. So my example showed you 16 subjects, so you should have 18. So you should be able to tell from here that if you have 18 passes and you calculate, what you have is triple Ps. And if you have 14 passes, 2 merits, and 2 distinctions, and you calculate, you'll have M double P. So what I want you to do is make sure that you have representation of triple Ps, triple Ms, M double Ps. So once you get to condition, is it 1320, you change this to reflect. So what you're going to have is you will have these conditions change. So if it is equals to, instead of saying greater than or equals to, you will say that if this is equal to this, then print this. Okay, so if you have this condition as if answer is equal to this, then print this. So it doesn't need to be of course it will be greater than, because you have 18 subjects, it will be greater than 1440. So all these conditions you modify and you make sure that you include that. So you have else if this is equal to this, grade text is equal to that. If this is equal to this, then you print this, and that's what you're going to modify here. So I expect that for your design you will have more options than just DDD, MMM, and PPP. Okay, so just one last time to demonstrate that it's working, we're going to just run it real quickly. So of course you will work on putting the right size of image so that when it's working it will be accurate. So by the time you have everything and you calculate, so you should have different options here. You should have PPP, MPP, and so on. Okay, so by the time you calculate, As the total score changes, the final grade should change as well, depending on the range.